What's up, guys? Today we're gonna talk about Mr. Rodgers' reign at Liverpool at the moment, how it's going so far, and from everything I've been reading and what I've been told about, what I've been hearing about, it's been pretty positive. Been pretty positive. From what I've been told, the uh, the owners have given him 30 million to spend this summer plus whatever else he makes in sales, such as the Dirk Kuyt sale today. For those who didn't know, Dirk Kuyt was sold today to Fenerbahce, the Turkish side, for what I've been hearing, because it was an undisclosed fee technically, but I've been hearing 1 to 3 million, anywhere in that range for Dirk Kuyt, which is it's all right. Can't estimate how much Dirk Kuyt was. Good player. Work rate was outstanding. He was one of my favorites, but I kind of thought it was his time to go. I thought another year would have been pushing it here. I think, especially with the team we have now. But you know, for everybody watching Liverpool last 10 years, he's always a guy to come up, and we're gonna miss him. But yeah, he's been sold today to that Turkish side, Fenerbahce, and that's okay. So, but back to Brandon Rodgers, he's been positive ever since he's been hired. Um, and for those of you who don't know, for those of him wondering if he's going to bring any Swansea players with him, he can't technically buy any. It's part of it. It's part of his contract as leaving Swansea to go to Liverpool. He can't buy any Swansea players that are part of the squad for the next 12 months. So, no, like for those who have heard Allen and Sinclair and things like that, they can't be bought for another year. But this does not include Sigurdsson, because technically he wasn't a Swansea player. Technically he was a Hoffenheim player that was just there on loan. So Sigurdsson is still available if they're going to buy him. And if they're going to buy him, I don't really have a problem with that. I think he's a pretty good squad player for us. I think midfielder-wise, I think Lucas is going to start next to Gerrard most of the time. I think Sigurdsson will be a better player, or he'll be a good player, but he won't be starting too often unless one of them is injured. And then again, we still got Adam and Spearing. I guess Spearing will. I think Spearing will be sold. Personally, I don't. I just. Um, I like him. He's a good player. He just seems like one of those names that I think will be sold this summer, and I don't really have a reason why. That's just my gut feeling, and it or he just leaves on loan or whatever. I think he'll be sold personally, but I think we're getting too many players in the midfield, or too deep for him to. It's not like we have many players in the midfield. I think you're getting too deep for him to get regular time, especially if Lucas comes back fully healthy and things like that. I think anytime he played, he'd be replaced by Lucas, and I think he just didn't play enough while Lucas was not injured and things like that. But yeah, so no Swansea players, and the only thing I've been disappointed about Rodgers is when he was picked up. Apparently, when Dalglish was fired, we had a deal there for Walcott, a deal in place to bring him in. And apparently that fell through when Dalglish was axed, and that was the only thing that irritated me about this whole situation. Because Walcott, I would have bringing him in with open arms, man. I think right wing is something we need, and I think that he's a great player on the wing. He's one of my favorite players there on the right, and that just would have been fantastic. Hopefully he can still come in, but you know, if he doesn't come in, that'll be the only thing that'll annoy me about this whole operation. But yeah, There's been talk about some players he's wanted to bring in. Sigurdsson is one of them. Another one is back in talks with Diame, and I heard a lot of people talking about Diame. Oh, he didn't start for Wigan the last two seasons or the last half of the season or whatever, and he didn't get into that starting lineup. How could he get into ours, or how could he be a player for us? People need to realize Diame is a defensive midfielder, and as I said, if we're gonna get him free, Spearing I think will go anyway. I think Diame will be a good addition, especially at free. And people need to realize that Wigan couldn't afford to have Diame on the pitch the last half of the season. They were fighting for their lives the entire last half of the season. The entire time. There wasn't a game there where they were like, oh, we can afford to sit back. And no. They needed 3 points every bloody game for the last remainder of the season. Or for the last half of the season. They couldn't afford to sit there and have a defensive midfielder and just, hope the one midfielder going forward gets it going. They couldn't do that. And I think Diame would be a good addition. And once again, it's just my opinion, but there are people, when you talk to someone who says that Diame couldn't get into Wigan's starting lineup, you have to look at the circumstances, and the circumstances where Diame was fighting to get into a squad that didn't need his position, or had no need for his position, essentially. But yeah, Diame is a player been talked about. Sigurdsson. I've heard a lot about that winger, a couple wingers, Ramirez and Budabo, I think is how you say his name. I don't know how you say it properly. I think he's been there. But I think Walcott would be my specific winger. My winger of choice, I meant to say. My winger of choice. And a couple of other players. Doumbia, that guy from plays in Russia at the moment at Moscow. He's a big, strong guy. I wouldn't mind him if he comes. But then again, I've been hearing his price has been moving up to like 20 some odd million. And when we got 10 million, I mean, we'd only have 10 million to spend after that. I think that's a bit. If we have a 30 million budget, I think that's a bit much to put on a player, I guess. Another player, Rasmus Elm, FC20. I think he'll be coming in. I think I heard a lot a while ago that it was a done deal, and I think he'll be coming in. I don't know if it's a done deal or not, obviously, but he said he'll be deciding after the Euro, which starts on Friday. He'll be deciding whether he wants to come play for Liverpool or play for whoever, whatever. He's a good player. He plays on the right wing. For those of you who haven't seen, go check him out. He's a good player. But yeah, those are the players I've heard from Rodgers. And what I've heard from the players is that Rodgers is a good guy. Mourinho, he worked under Mourinho for a while. And Mourinho, you got to have a lot of respect for him. He does great things with the manager position and stuff like that. But yeah, guys, as this video comes to an end, Rodgers doing a good job as of yet. Yeah, guys, peace.